Welcome back to Successful Living. Many times when I deal with my clients, we're looking at how can we save more money for retirement so we actually don't run out of money. Well, last year the government passed the Secure Act, and we're joined today by Greg Porcaro from Porcaro and Associates. Thanks for joining us as usual.
Pleasure.
And what I think we want to do is we want to tell people what the act is about, and I know it's not just about savings in general, but what is it from a general sense, and why did the government do it?
So, as you know, Americans do not save enough money for retirement. I mean, I see some of the numbers, and you must see them as well, what people put aside at different age brackets. It's kind of staggering to think that someone in their 40s or 50s might have only $150,000 saved for retirement. And I know from experience like you that it's not just a function of income, because I've seen clients who make that, to your point, progress, put effort in, save money on a regular basis, and accumulate a fair amount of money based on a relatively modest income. So it's definitely an accomplishable goal. So the government's trying to provide more incentive from a tax perspective for people to actually do that.
So that's their main reason, is to just prepare people, maybe because there'll be less Social Security, I'm not sure, but...
Yeah, we try not to think about it like that, but that's also a possibility, right? Social Security was not intended to be a primary source of retirement income. It was intended to be a supplement.
Yep.
But more and more you see people relying on it as a primary source of their retirement income, and it's not a sufficient amount of money in most cases. Yeah. So I think they could have did more on the Secure Act side, frankly. I would have loved to see an increase in the overall contribution limit so people could actually save more in terms of total dollars. They didn't really tweak that
so they
too
didn't
much.
really, they didn't really increase those numbers beyond what they already had scheduled to increase. But what they did change, and you and I kind of talked about this, was a few different areas, and one of them was the IRA area.
Right.
And so a lot of people, they understand what a stretch IRA, but didn't know it was called that. Can you explain that change?
And this was always confusion with people. When they inherited an IRA, whether they were a spouse or non-spouse, the rules were different. How do I get my mom or dad's money over what period of time? And there were the rules where you could stretch it over your life expectancy, which was good for many people. And I would try to tell them, take the least amount as possible. Let that money grow. Don't pay the tax early. Don't take all the money and go buy like a new car or something like that. And people get that
because it would
motivation.
be taxed as income, correct?
Right. There's an income tax consequence, not no 10% penalty because it was inherited, but still, that's not the best opportunity for that money long range.
Right.
So we were able to spread it out as long as possible, and most people understood that and loved the idea.
Yeah. And
I think one of the things that they had to do in order to pay for some of the enhancements, they found a way to accelerate revenue recognition by saying to people, look, if subject to certain exceptions, if you inherit an IRA and you're not a spouse, unfortunately the spousal rules stay the same, which is great.
So take it whenever you want, really.
Over your life expectancy as a surviving spouse. The non-surviving spouse has basically take that money over a 10-year window. So it's substantially accelerated. Now, there are some exceptions for minor children, for people that are not more than 10 years younger than the decedent. So there's some rules. Again, everything about this business is great. You can do this, except if that happens, and then if that happens, you're going to call Greg. So that's the kind of situation. It's not entirely simple, and it will definitely alter the way people approach inherited IRAs.
And what was the purpose behind them doing that?
Well, I think it was to raise money, right? So
so from the government side, it was more of a benefit for the government than it is
because
as an
that
individual.
paid for other things that they allowed people to do, which we'll discuss, right? So everything has to theoretically balance. They don't know what a balanced budget is if their life depended on it, but in theory, everything they give away has to be paid for by something else. So this was one of the things that raises revenue. And don't forget, the budget window is 10 years, so they see that 10-year window, and I'm sure that's what played into that number, though I don't know for a fact.
So now they have to accelerate it, where if they had a 30-year life expectancy as a non-spouse, now it's over 10. Does that both for traditional IRA and Roth IRA?
Well, Roth IRAs, fortunately, are not subject to tax.
Yeah.
And they don't have RMD requirements. So Roth IRAs are still great, especially for younger people.
Yeah.
If they can get Roth IRAs cranking when they're in their 20s, God bless them. Right?
Okay. All right. So the other area, is that required minimum distributions, and that's where I get the most calls. So people have now entered in retirement. There's some age, somewhere around 75, I have to take something. And it's traditionally been 70 and a half that you have to start taking money out, and I always give them the understanding of they're taking it out, so now the government can tax you on it because they gave you those breaks.
That's right.
So now something has actually changed, correct?
So one of the things that they did, which is why they had to pay for it with the restriction on the stretch IRA, is they allow people now to take their required minimum distribution when they're 72. So they pushed it out a year and a half from what it was before, provided they haven't already begun to take the distribution. So when I first heard about this, I was so excited because I have many clients who don't want to take the money, and I was hoping that they would also be given that benefit. But unfortunately, if you're already in distribution mode, it doesn't help
All right,
you.
so you can't go back on that. I think we have an illustration. If we can just
Yes.
kind of illustrate that and pull that up. So here you go.
So in red, you can see what was supposed to happen. In the year after you turn 70 and a half, you had to take a distribution. And the faster you take the distribution, the quicker you have to pay the tax on it. So, and of course, that means it's not growing either in that period of time. You're taking money out, that means it's less principal.
Right.
So now they moved that, so that same person, provided they weren't 70 and a half, gets to take that money at 73. So it pushes it out that year and a half, which means the money can grow. It avoids tax. So that's a benefit, which again has to be paid for with other
But it's only a
things.
2-year difference in general.
In general, right. So it
Okay.
would have been nice to be longer. And again, some people who have saved money don't want to take it at all. And
Right.
there are some clients I've seen who try to ignore the fact that they're supposed to take a required minimum distribution. And I like to tell our viewers there's a 50% penalty for failure to take your RMD when you're supposed to. And even though I haven't seen significant enforcement, no one wants to be on the wrong side of that situation. Right?
Yeah.
If you're supposed to take out $100,000 and you don't, it's a $50,000 penalty.
Yep.
That's horrifying, right? So we don't want to see that. We have never seen it.
Yeah. Okay, so are there any other rules that have
Well,
changed
another
within the
nice
IRA?
one is for people who are still in the workforce. It used to be once you were 70 and a half, you couldn't make a deductible IRA contribution. Now you can do that regardless of your age, which I always
okay.
thought made a lot of sense. A lot of people still work for whatever reason. They just like it. We talked about this in our last show. They just don't know what else to do, and they want to keep saving for retirement. You can still do that.
Okay, but in the past, and they...
In 2020, excuse me.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so that'll be for this contribution year. A lot of times people come to you and say,
That's
hey,
right.
can I put it in for last year? They can't,
They
even if
can't.
they qualify under
Correct.
those rules to do that. Okay, moving along from IRAs to now 401ks. I know they've made some changes there. What are some of the bigger changes?
The 401k changes were mostly focused on trying to provide motivation for employers to offer plans and for people to participate. So there's auto enrollment options. So people who would ignore, and you'd be surprised how many times I'd come across someone and said, do you have your 401k at work? Yes. Did you put money in? No. Why? Well, they don't have a match. Well, that's not a good thing, but you should still do it.
Right.
So now there's auto enrollment, which means when you are hired, you're going to automatically put a certain amount, which is predetermined by the plan design. So they're
Okay.
going to be stuck doing it. No, they can opt out. So it's auto
Okay.
enrollment, but they don't have to do it, right?
Now, is that for every 401k? Or is it just, I'm not sure.
I don't see why, yeah, I would say yes. I don't know of any reason why one 401k would be different.
Right, yeah.
Other
Okay.
than the safe harbor rules, but I don't see that being a
But I mean, that's a
conflict
great thing because it's always, people always, for me, it's about, it's about those little things that are just automatic. I talk about automatic rebalance, automatic annual increase to your 401k. But here's the thing, starting is the most important
That's
thing,
right.
right? Those are the rules you always start. It's always tough to start something. Almost like I talked about procrastination, that's where this comes in. Hey, if you just start it and then all of a sudden you start seeing this money, then you pay attention to it. And then
And
you're
that's
like,
the other
oh,
thing.
I want to put more money in or I want the right investments and you pay more attention.
And people will say, well, I only can do so much a week. It doesn't matter. Because
Right.
that means it's proportionate to your income and needs. So you don't need to save $10,000 a week if you don't need $10,000 a week to live on.
Yeah.
So once you start, first of all, you don't miss the money.
Right.
It's not in your checkbook, you're not spending it. And
Right.
as you point out, as it grows, you start focusing on maybe I should do 5% instead of 3%, and so on and so on. I've seen that happen time and time again.
Yeah.
The other thing that they did is enhance, again, employers' willingness to offer plans. So they increased, there's a credit that's available for people that put plans in place. That credit was increased substantially over the prior law, up to $5,000 if I remember correctly. So now if you're considering putting a plan in, they're going to help you offset the cost of plan administration by virtue of a tax credit.
Ah.
So that's a really nice feature. And we had when that changed, we have a client who was working on a conversion from a simple
Yeah.
to a 401k, and we think she's going to be able to take advantage of this credit. So that's what they did on the 401k side. They made some other, I think, somewhat awkward tweaks, but for the most part, it was trying to enhance
Okay.
people's ability to participate, not necessarily expand the amount of money they can actually put away.
Okay, and then let's say on the 1040, right, there's some credits that they've actually now kind of going retroactively, I think you said, or there's some changes / brought them back into play?
So, one thing I was hoping for after last year, we didn't see any new things that we really had to worry about for the filing season, right? The Secure Act's basically all prospective. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Congress didn't have a calendar and didn't realize that October 15th had already passed, so they retroactively reinstated tax deductions all the way back to 2018.
Wow.
Which
Okay.
means now we have to help clients figure out whether it applied to them and whether it makes sense for them to actually file an amended return to get the money, especially after they consider the cost.
But they would have to file an amended return in order to
As
get
it
those
stands
credits.
right now, right, there's been some discussion with a good friend of mine that maybe they would create a simplified process for that.
Yeah.
But someone still has to figure out whether it makes sense or not. Someone's got to look at it and say, all right, well, maybe we should have taken this deduction.
Right.
For example, PMI insurance,
Yeah.
which was considered mortgage interest up until 2018, which was great. It was eliminated in 2018, and now it's back. Now, as you know, standard deduction's been increased. A lot of people didn't even itemize. So
Right.
that deduction reinstatement may not even matter, but you still have to see if it matters.
Right.
Student.
So people should be asking their accountant about
Well,
that.
you know, I talked to my staff. I said, look, they're not going to ask us because most likely they don't know.
Right.
So we have to be looking at what do we see in 19 that might have applied in
Okay.
18, and
Yep.
then make.
But for people out there that have an accountant or they do it themselves, they really need to pay
If
attention.
they do it themselves, they definitely need to go back and say, well, I paid for tuition, for example. This is another, the tuition and fees deduction was reinstated. It's up to $4,000. That credit limit, I mean, that income limit is different than the education credit. So some people who couldn't get the education credit might have been able to get the tuition and fees deduction.
Yeah.
So they have to now look. And, you know, there's a possibility that some of the software that's out there might have a diagnostic to help them, but if you're not looking for it, you're not going to find it. So there's a few things that were reinstated that I thought would have been nice to have before the deadline actually passed.
Yeah.
And then we could have helped clients avoid
Got it.
these kind of problems.
Yeah.
Because no one likes to pay us, you know, we can't pay us, you know, X amount to get back Y. That difference has to be pretty significant or it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they do create a simplified process for them to be able to go back.
Yeah.
And
We all hope, correct. But thank you today for joining us and kind
My
of updating
pleasure.
on that. And I'm sure we'll see you soon. So
Yes.
we'll
After
be right.
April 15th.
Yes, we'll be right back.